Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a fun one because I am going to be creating the You're Golden palette with things I already have in my collection. I don't really know what to call this type of video, maybe like condensing the color story or something. That's essentially what I'm doing. When I was discussing new product launches in one of my recent videos, I'll link it in the cards up above, I was talking about how I felt like all of the browns in the new ColourPop 30 pan palette, it's called the You're Golden, You're So Golden. I don't know which one it is, but I just found that the color story was super repetitive. I'll put a little picture of it right here so you can see what I'm talking about. But I remember a video that I really enjoyed watching from Lauren May Beauty where she took Morphe, I think the 35, yeah, they're 35 pans. So she took those Morphe color stories, the 35 pan ones, and condensed them into 12 pan palettes. And I felt like this palette would be a great palette to use for this kind of video because it is such a large color story, but I do feel like there are a lot of unnecessary redundant shades in there. So I condensed it down into my very own little 12 pan color story. I'll post a picture right here. I have two versions. I'll post version 1 right here, and then I'll post version 2 right underneath it. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. So the main difference between the two versions is the first shade on the top left. I ended up going with the light gold, which I think was version 2 actually. I just felt that it kind of complemented the palette better than the light cool tone pink. So yeah, that's the one I ended up going with. So I don't have the palette with me, so I'm not 100% sure like if these are correct dupes because I can't really compare them because I obviously didn't buy the palette, but I didn't get it in PR either as of yet. I'm hoping it doesn't come because honestly, I kind of like my version better almost. But yeah, so I don't know if it's like an exact dupe, but I wanted to like create it with ColourPop palettes that I already had. Their eyeshadows are magnetic and you can pop them out of the palette. So whatever ColourPop palettes you have, you can like use a little spatula or a little pair of scissors, just be very careful, and just, you know, kind of pop them out and put them in your own magnetic palette. So this is the one that I came up with. This is what it looks like. I think I did a fairly good job at identifying which shades stood out to me most and how I could, you know, capture the color story and create something similar without all the bulk. So yeah, this is the color story that I came up with. I really enjoy it. I think that I did a pretty good job for my first time creating a condensed palette. And yeah, I just really prefer smaller curated color stories. I feel like I can sometimes get overwhelmed by the larger 30 pan palettes, especially when it has a lot of redundant shades too. I'm just like, what's the point? They just feel kind of like filler shades. Whereas with something more concise, each shade really, you know, serves a purpose in order to tell that color story. That's just how I feel. So yeah, I really enjoy the one that I made. And I did a little demo on this eye look. And then I also went through each of the shades and let you know which palette they're from, what the name is, gave you a little swatchy swatch, swatched out the entire palette on my arm. And yeah, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
Hello friends, it is I coming at you from behind the camera, and here is my little palette. Just want to say I took my engagement ring off just because of this video. I didn't want it to be like flashing and blinding you guys and reflecting light in weird ways. Nothing happened. I just took it off for the purpose of this video. Also, my nails, let's not talk about it, okay? Nail salons are still not open, so I have to do them myself, and I am not very good. Not only that, but they're grown out, but I need to have them on or else I will pick at my skin until I bleed. So there's that. Just please, just don't judge, okay? So this is my palette right here. I made the You're Golden palette into a little 12 pan. These on the side are just different options that I found among my search for ColourPop singles. So this here is version 1 of my palette. So the difference between the two versions is this top left shade here. So this is version 1. This shade is actually appearing more cool in the viewfinder, but it actually pulls more gold. So this one kind of represents the light golds in the palette, whereas this one represents the light pink. And I don't know which one I like better. I think I like the gold better, honestly. So I think I'm gonna stick with the gold just because this palette does pull so warm with pops of blue. I feel like this pink here is just like a little bit weird. The pop of cool tone pink just kind of throws me off a little bit. I could definitely make it work, but like I think I like the first version better. So that's the one we're gonna swatch out today. So yeah, I feel like I did a pretty good job at capturing the essence of the palette while cutting the amount of shades in half. I really took a look at what the standout shades were for me, and those were the aqua shades, the coral, the bright gold, and the peachy goldish shimmer shade. And then after that, my main focus was actually making this into a cohesive palette. palette. So I wanted the pops that really spoke to me from the original palette, but then I wanted to be able to create something that was actually usable. So that's why I added these matte shades, but there's no repeats. In the original palette, there are so many shades that just look the exact same. There must have been like 5 of these really light brown transition-y shades. There was a couple really dark ones. So yeah, I just cut all the bulk out. And I think I did a pretty good job. I'm really into this. So let's get into the swatches. I don't have the palette with me. I didn't purchase it and I haven't gotten it in PR yet. And with ColourPop, there's no real way to tell what you're getting in PR. So I don't know if I'll actually end up getting this one. But if I do get it in PR, I think it would be fun to create a video where I compare the palette that I made to the actual real thing, because I'm just going off pictures at this point. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into swatching these bad boys. So I'll just go top to bottom, left to right. The first shade we have here is from the Off Melrose palette. This is the shade Angelino. I kind of got the glitter in there, my bad. So this is the shade Angelino, and it's just like a really light gold. Don't mind the little glitter flecks in there. That was an accident. But yeah, this is a really pretty one. I really enjoy it. Nothing too crazy. I just needed something basic for this one, but I'm happy with it. And I'll also swatch the version 2 option, which is the light pink here. This is the shade So Fine from the Stone Cold Fox palette. So yeah, those were my 2 options for that first light shade. Again, I kind of like the Angelino one better. It's all personal preference because this is my own palette. I could do what I want. So next up we have this pressed glitter. This is the shade Opal from the So Jaded palette in collaboration with Kathleen Lights. I don't think this one is quite as turquoise as the pressed glitter in the palette, but I think it'll do the job. Wow, that's so pretty. I don't love pressed glitters, but I thought I'd include this one because look how beautiful that is. I think the one in the palette is more aqua. This one kind of just translates to like a rainbow glitter, but still, I think it'll give a similar effect, and it provides a similar effect within the palette. So I'm just mesmerized by this. So yeah, that is the shade Opal from the So Jaded and Kathleen Lights palette. I really had to scrub my hand to get off that glitter, but obviously it's still there, so please just ignore that. I tried my best. Next up, we have the shade Aquamarine, and this is also from the So Jaded and Kathleen Lights palette. Very pretty. It's just a shimmery aqua shade. Very beautiful. I love this one. I definitely think it's a standout shade in the palette, so I wanted to make sure it was a standout shade in my own palette. So that is the shade Aquamarine from the So Jaded palette. Next up, we have a pop of Coral, which was also kind of a standout shade in the palette for me. So for this shade, I used the shade Anemone from the Coast to Coral palette. I also have another option here. This is Centerfold from the Baby Got Peach palette. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit brighter. That being said, I do think they'll give off similar effects. As you can see, this one has more pink. I think either would look great. I had a hard time choosing which one I wanted to put in my palette, and there was honestly no real reason of why I picked this one over this one. I think they would both look great. It's just kind of what I chose to put in there, but I think both would be great options. I just wanted to give 2 because I found them easily, and not everyone has the same collection. It's just a coral. They're pretty easy to find. So next up we have a brown. This is like a really light brown. It's kind of neutral, pulls slightly warm. This is the shade Like a Tatooine from the Mandalorian palette. I actually kind of had a hard time finding something that didn't pull too cool or that wasn't too yellow toned. This was a really good one. I think ColourPop Wake Up Call as well. It's a single eyeshadow that they sell. It is really good, and I think that would be a good option. Is it Wake Up Call I'm thinking of? I don't know. Let me check. So it is the shade Wake Up Call that I'm thinking of. This is a single shadow from my kit. I think this would also be a great option. It is a little bit lighter and pulls a little more orange, but I think it would give a similar effect. So yeah, this is ColourPop Wake Up Call. And that is so funny. With that swatch, I officially hit pan on this shade. So as you can see, I get a lot of use out of it. I feel like I should zoom in a little bit. I don't know. We'll just go with it. You guys can let me know what you like best in the comments down below if you like it a little more zoomed out or zoomed in. This is my first time doing a video like this. It's definitely a learning curve. So next up we have the shade Get Even. This is like a peach with a lot of gold reflex. Oh, I'm gonna have to put my hand down here. So this is that shade. ColourPop launches shades like this all the time. You probably have something very similar in your ColourPop collection. It might not be this exact shade. This one is from the Baby Got Peach palette, but they literally launch these all the time in their palettes. So I don't think you'd have a hard time finding something similar to this. Again, it's just like a peach, but then it flashes gold in the light. Next up, we have a warm red tone brown. This is the shade Flower Power from the Big Poppy collection. Again, I don't think this is something you would have a hard time finding. Very pretty, but very basic. It pulls very warm, and I think it was kind of a good fit for this collection because it kind of goes with the warmth of the corals. So yeah, that is the shade Flower Power from the Big Poppy collection. Next up, this shade is from the ColourPop and Raw Beauty Christie collab. This is the shade West Coast. It's just like a bright gold. ColourPop described their shade as a marigold, and I know that was the inspiration for this shade from Raw Beauty Kristi. So yeah, I thought this would be a good fit. Another shade that I found is from the Honey collection. So this is the shade Dandy from the Honey palette. This one just pulls a little more yellow, and the Raw Beauty Kristi one pulls a bit more orange. I thought this one matched the original palette better, so that's why I went with this one, but I think both would be a great option depending on what you have. So next up we have this really deep brown. I would kind of say it's more neutral, maybe a bit of red in it, but it's very deep. This is again from the Wild Poppy collection, and it is the shade Wild Thing. It's kind of basic, but I thought this palette needed something deep besides the teal to deepen up any looks if you didn't want to like go too colorful, for example. So yeah, that is the shade Wild Thing. Honestly, it's swatching a lot less deep than it looks. I thought it was going to swatch a lot deeper, but like look at that swatch compared to the depth of the actual shadow in the pan. Interesting. Anyway, next up we have a copper shade. This is the shade Fuzzy from the Bare Necessities palette. I find I've actually been putting this shade in quite a bit of my duping videos. Anything that's a copper, I find this is like such a great dupe for. Formula is really nice, and the color is so beautiful, so I thought I would add it to this one. I feel like it went with the whole gold thing, but was a little bit different. So there was a pop of like a cooler tone taupe, so I definitely wanted to include that in here as well. This is the shade Prefix? I don't know. You would think that since I did French in school, I would know that. This is so pretty. It's like a bronze, but it's more cool. And I thought this would look nice with the blues. So yeah, I wanted to include this one. This is also from the Bare Necessities palette. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. Ugh, so pretty. And it also provides a little bit of depth to the palette. And then finally, we have this shade here, which is kind of the star of the show for the deeper shades. This is the shade PNW, or Pacific Northwest, from the Raw Beauty Kristi palette. This deep teal is just so perfect for this palette. As soon as I saw that shade, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I do have another option though, but this one is a little bit lighter, but not everyone has the Raw Beauty Kristi palette, so you could get a similar effect with something like this. This is the shade Turquoise from the So Jaded palette, and I'll just swatch them side by side. Obviously this one doesn't have quite the same depth, but I feel like you could achieve a similar look. You could even mix this one with like a black to get a similar depth. And yeah, I thought that was a good option as well. They're both very pretty. They would both fit really nicely in the palette. I just think the Pacific Northwest shade from the Raw Beauty Kristi palette was a closer dupe, so that's why I put that one in there. I feel like this palette kind of gives off Natasha Denona Gold palette vibes, but like with a summery twist with the corals and stuff, you know? I think I actually did a look using these two shades. I'll post a little picture of it like over here somewhere. So yeah, I really like the combo of these two. I feel like that's super beautiful. And I will go ahead and swatch out the entire palette on my arm just so you can see what the whole color story is looking like. Okay, so I caught literally none of that on camera, the swatching, so I was gonna try and make like a satisfying like swatch clip with like music over it or something. Yeah, that didn't happen. I'm definitely gonna have to work on my setup. But anyways, okay, let's zoom out because I can't bend that way. So this is what the palette looks like all swatched out. I think it gives the same vibes as the original. I think it gives summer vibes. I think she understood the assignment. She's given me all of the fantasy. She's selling it to me, and I feel like I don't actually need the golden palette, which is so funny because originally that was one that I really wanted. But then I took a hard look at it and was like, wow, that's a ton of repeat shades. So yeah, I'm really happy that I did this exercise, and I'm really happy that I created my own because now I don't feel the need to get it even if I don't get it in PR. And yeah, I think that's it for this little overview portion. And yeah, we can move on to creating a look with this palette.
Okay, my friends, so we are up close and personal and we are going to start a look. Even though it's like really hot outside and it is like summer, I just feel like going a little bit smoky, which is kind of the opposite of the vibes lately. But I don't know why, that's just what I'm feeling. So that's what we're going to do today. I kind of want it to be like smoky on the lid and then not as smoky in the crease, and then a teal winged liner and maybe a pop of blue on the inner corner. That's kind of the vibe that I feel today. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get into it. I'm going to prime my eyes using the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. It feels like I haven't filmed in so long, even though it hasn't really been that long. It's only been a couple days. I don't know if that's true. I think it might have actually been like 4 or 5 days. I just feel like I haven't really filmed much. I don't know why I feel like that, but I do. And I miss you guys when I'm not filming all the time. So yeah, I think because I had a lot pre-filmed, that's the reason why I feel like I haven't filmed in a while, just because I've been editing so much instead of filming. So yeah, I like that concealer as like a little eye primer. I really enjoy it for that. This is my palette, by the way. I'm sure you would have seen it by now, because I'm gonna do like the swatches and explaining all the shades in the first part of the video, and then I'll do the demo after. So you've already seen this palette, but this is what it is. And then these are kind of like my extra colors that are kind of duping these ones. So these are gonna be the main colors I'm using. I don't think I'm gonna touch any of these, but yeah, I'm gonna go into this shade right here. I don't remember which one it is because I filmed the swatching portion of the video 2 days ago, so I don't really remember, but the light brown shade is what I'm going to be dipping into. So I'm just gonna dip into that light brown. Actually, I think this is from the Mandalorian palette, the shade like a Tatooine or something. Look at my memory coming back, the worst memory literally of all time. So I'm just gonna apply this into my crease. So how are you guys doing? Let me know in the comments down below. In Ontario here, we are entering step one of our reopening plan. So things open up as of midnight tonight, and we'll be open tomorrow, which is retail stores are open again. Patios, which I'm so excited about. I could totally go for like a patio dinner. I haven't eaten out in probably since the fall, actually, just because restaurants have been closed for so long. And then I'm gonna go into my Urban Decay setting powder, and I'm just going to set down the brow bone because I don't want to add too much more to the crease, honestly. But yeah, so I'm definitely gonna go out to a restaurant hopefully soon. Not this weekend, because this weekend's gonna be crazy because everyone's got like cabin fever. So I'm sure everything's gonna be super busy. So I'm probably gonna stay in this weekend. Maybe in the next few weeks. I'm really excited to start going out again. Maybe do some shopping, because I haven't been able to try on clothes at all. So that's been really tough because I've been trying online shopping and I'm just not good at it. I literally had to return like everything I bought, or at least exchange it, which costs me money because a lot of companies don't do the whole free return thing. So it's been crazy. What a time to be alive. So I'm really happy that not everything, I'm not allowed to open, but certain things are opening, and that's all I can ask for. COVID cases have been down significantly in this area, which is also great because obviously people's health is the #1 concern and priority. So I'm really happy that COVID cases are down. Oh, where did my voice go? I swear it cuts out sometimes. Our vaccine rollout's going decently well from what I understand, so that's exciting too. I'm gonna go into this deep shade. This is from the Big Poppy palette. I don't remember the actual color name though. I'm so sorry about my voice. Ooh. But yeah, so my second dose of my vaccine is, also I'm just taking this and applying it to the outer corner. My vaccine is booked for August 17th, I believe, but I believe they are pushing everybody forward, so that's also great. So I might get a call to reschedule my vaccine to a little earlier, which is super exciting because obviously the earlier the better. The way they're doing it in Canada is very strange. It's not like the US. I know a lot of my viewers are based in the US, so things are a little bit different in Ontario anyway. Our vaccine supply was really quite low for a very long time, so the way they were doing it was they were giving out a lot of first doses and then waiting like 4 months for people to get their second dose. Like my grandma was vaccinated with her first dose back in, I want to say April. I want to say March, actually. I think it was before my birthday that she got vaccinated, and she still doesn't have her second shot. So they're doing it a little weird. I'm trying not to worry too much about it because I already do that. I just worry about everything. So I'm just trying to like let the experts do their thing. I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with their decision to do it the way they've been doing it, but there's nothing I can do to change it. So I'm just trying to, you know, keep things calm. I have enough to worry about with my businesses that aren't going super well, actually that aren't going at all. That's another thing I wanted to discuss today quickly. I just wanted to say thank you so much for your support on my sponsored video. It's my last video. This one will be going up next. So yeah, the last one was sponsored. Also, I'm gonna go into this one. This one was out of the Bare Necessities palette. It's like the dark cool tone shade. Again, I don't remember the shade, but I'm just going to go in with a flat brush and apply it to my lid. I just wanted to say thank you so much. It gave me a lot of hope to have a YouTube sponsor, just because you know, I have been struggling financially for a pretty long time now. I've been living off of government assistance. I don't like to admit that, but that's just what I've been forced into because they're not allowing me to work. So it is what it is. Being able to like make money that's mine for the first time in a very long time. I haven't been able to work since September. So just being able to make my money for the first time, like by actually working instead of just kind of collecting it, doesn't really feel deserved. So it felt really good to actually earn something myself and work on a project myself. Thank you so much for the support on that. And thank you so much for supporting me to the point where I was able to obtain a YouTube sponsorship or even be offered one. Yeah, just thank you a lot. You guys have been super supportive and lovely. I'm just blending it out because I don't want it to be like a harsh cut crease. So yeah, again, just thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm really proud of myself and proud of the fact that I've been able to start making a second income. You know, like I had to do a complete 180 because this wasn't the plan. YouTube wasn't the plan, really. The plan was to have a makeup artist business, not talk on YouTube, but I've really found that I enjoy it quite a bit. I love responding to comments. I love interacting with you guys. And yeah, I found like a new income source that I really love doing, and it's, you know, kind of been a blessing in disguise because I really enjoy this and I can make money from it. It's not a lot right now, definitely not enough to live on, but like it's better than the alternative, which is sitting on my ass and not doing anything because the government won't let me work. Anyway, that was just a tangent. Just know that I really am grateful. And then what I'm going to do next is go into this like lighter gold shade, and I'm going to use this as a brow bone highlight. You could use this as an inner corner highlight, but I'm going to do some aqua on the inner corner, so I'm not going to do that today, but that would also be very pretty as a brow bone highlight, or as an inner corner highlight, sorry. Yeah, that's pretty. It's just like a smooth shimmer. Then I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm not sure if I've done this technique on this channel. I know I've definitely done it like on my Instagram in like little video tutorials, but I don't think I've done it on YouTube. Maybe I have, I don't really remember. It's hard to remember like what I created for YouTube and then what I created for Instagram. So I'm going to go in with my micellar water. I really enjoy this product. I'm kind of regretting that I didn't include it in my favorites. This is the one that I use. I get it at Shoppers Drug Mart if you're Canadian. It works really well as a makeup remover for me, doesn't sting my skin. It's kind of like a cruelty-free Bioderma dupe, and it's cheaper, I think. So I'm just taking the micellar water on a little Q-tip, and I'm just going to kind of like create a wing shape but remove the makeup that's underneath. But yeah, I used to love Bioderma, but it's not cruelty free, so that was kind of an issue when I went cruelty free. And this has been a great dupe. I really enjoy it. It's not the exact same, like I still honestly do prefer Bioderma, but they're similar enough to where like I don't really miss Bioderma that much. I tried the simple skincare one, that micellar water. First of all, they're not cruelty free, even though like you would think that they were. I didn't realize that they weren't, so I tried the simple micellar water, and oh my goodness, it really stung my eyes. Despite it being marketed as a gentle product, it was not on my skin, that's for sure. Okay, so I just did it kind of like in a rough shape. Then what I'm going to do is take a little bit of a detailer brush, and I'm going to take a little more of that e.l.f. Camo Concealer. I don't know if I want to use this brush. Never mind. I'm going to use a Stilazzi S206. I really like this brush. So I'm going to just dip into the concealer and just kind of create a clean slate for the wing. Since it is a shadow wing and it's not like a gel eyeliner, I don't think the teal would show up on like the darker shimmery shade. So, and I'm trying to be a bit neater with this part than I was the makeup remover part. It's a little thicker than I was wanting, but I think that's okay. Yeah, I think that looks good. Okay, then I'm just gonna take a small, I don't know why I held it up like this. I'm gonna take a small angle brush. This is a Stilazzi Angle Mini S203. These are my favorite, and they're like $10. No, they're less than $10 for sure. They're just like little tiny angle brushes. I want to say they're like $5 US. Anyway, they're really good. And I'm just going to apply the teal shade from the Raw Beauty Christie palette and just apply that all over the concealer. I really like this technique because it literally allows you to take any sort of eyeshadow and turn it into an eyeliner. It's just like a fun way to experiment with colored liner without having a huge budget. I'm gonna clean it up like at the bottom here, but then I'm just gonna take a little bit of micellar water. Again, this is just on a little cotton round though, instead of a Q-tip. And I'm just cleaning up the line there so that everything is nice and sharp. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is just go off camera, do the other eye, do my face and concealer and stuff, and then we can come back and finish off the eyes. And yeah, cool. Okay, I don't know what else to say. I'll be right back. Okay, so I finished my face and I just kept going by accident. I applied that teal shade also to the bottom lash line. That's as far as I got though, before realizing that like I was supposed to be back filming. So now for the waterline, I'm going to use this ColourPop cream gel liner in the shade Catsuit. It's a little bit brighter than the teal shade, but I think it'll still look nice. Yeah, definitely a bit brighter, but that's all right. I still like it. I think it's fun. I thought it would match a bit better. I thought this shade was a bit darker. Oh, just poked myself. Oh God. Okay, I'm actually going to also take a tiny little brush. This is just a small pencil brush and a little bit of that teal shade. I just dipped into it once and I'm putting it on the back of my hand. I just want like a titch on my brush, and I'm just gonna blend this out just a little bit, just so it's not quite as harsh, but I definitely don't want to take it down too far. I don't want it to look messy, if that makes sense. And I think for the final step, I'm going to go into this light teal aqua shade. Just going to take this on, again, a little tiny brush, and I am just going to apply this to the inner corner. Okay, there, I really like that. So moving on to mascara, I'm just gonna use my NYX On The Rise. Okay, and then for lashes, I'm just going in with the style Bay from ColourPop. I really like this style, so I'm excited to use these. I think it'll go nicely with the look. Also, I just got a text from Ryan's mom, and apparently I can sign up to get my second shot as of Monday. Today is Thursday, so that's really gonna boost things along, which is fantastic. I think I mentioned previously, but my other appointment date was August, so that's very exciting. It's because we live in a hotspot area. We're in the Toronto area, and they were really, well, I guess, were really badly hit with the third wave, so I guess they're allowing us to get our vaccines. I don't really know. She just texted me saying that. I haven't actually looked into it, but if that's true, that is so exciting. What a blessing. Anyway, so I'm just gonna apply the other one off camera because I can't really talk while I do this. Well, I guess I can talk, but like, I feel like I'm out of frame. Am I out of frame? I don't know. I'm just gonna do the other one off camera, okay? And then I'm gonna finish my face and I'll come back and we can chat some more. Okay friends, so this is the completed look. It's pretty bold. I feel like you could definitely recreate this look if you did purchase the 30 pan version of this palette. I really like how it turned out. It's definitely more smoky than I would usually go for this time of year. I usually enjoy really light makeup in the summertime, but I really like this. I think it's pretty. I haven't played with makeup in a long time, so I kind of wanted to go a little crazier than normal. So yeah, I really like it. It's a lot more glam than I usually go for right now, but again, I thought it was fun. Overall, I'm really happy with the palette I made. I've never done an exercise like this where I condensed down a color story that was quite large to begin with, and I think I did a really good job. I really enjoy the palette that I created, and it kind of, you know, reminded me that I don't need the full size, because I found that I was kind of falling back into that collector's mentality because I have the Stone Cold Fox palette, the Bare Necessities palette, and the So Jaded palette. They have one more that is a 30 pan. It's got like a bunch of like magenta purpley pinks. I don't know what it's called though, but since I have 3 of the 5, I was kind of in that collector's mentality where I felt like I needed to get the You're Golden palette. But creating this helped me realize that number 1, there's so many repeat shades in there, and number 2, I don't need to collect it because I already have similar things in my collection. So it just seems like it would be a pointless purchase for me. So yeah, overall, I'm really happy that I did this. Let me know if you guys like these kinds of videos. I can definitely do more of them because I feel like there are a lot of palettes. It's definitely not a feeling, it's a fact. There are a lot of eyeshadow palettes being released as of late, and a lot of them are, you know, bigger color stories. So I feel like I can condense other ones down. I feel like it would be fun. So please let me know if you like this video. You can give it a thumbs up or leave a comment down below. Either is fine. And yeah, now I feel like I don't need that palette because I kind of created my own already. So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is I had a lot of fun doing it, and you know, you don't need every eyeshadow palette. Maybe just shop your stash and see what you already have at home, and if you have a lot of gaps, then maybe you can determine if it's a right color story for you. I personally didn't have a lot of gaps in my collection with those colors that were in that particular palette, so I could determine that it wasn't really a good fit for my collection. It wouldn't have provided any value, and it wouldn't have provided anything that was really unique to my collection. So yeah, it kind of confirmed that I really should pass on that product. So yeah, I'm gonna go because I am really freaking hot. I am sweaty AF. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far. Please don't forget to subscribe if you want to. If you don't, that's okay. I just really appreciate you being here. It helps out my channel so very much by you watching, so thank you. Please leave any video requests you may have in the comments down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!